Oh, all right. The job becomes difficult only because uh, all these various understandings or all these various cognitions, these various concepts that one already is harboring, now we have given it a status of being real. Okay. Oh, we will see that later on, but we have given that why we are saying that this is real, this is not. What is the definition of something being real? We will see that, but we already have an idea, and we already are so soaked in it that we say that this is what is a fact, this is what is the truth. Then, when the Upanishad arrives on the scene, or a teacher like Shri Krishna Bhagavan Shankaracharya, somebody comes and says, Atma is Brahman. Now, what is it that you understand from this? Apatataha, even superficially, what is it that you understand? Hey, oh, well, this is all intellectual, this is a theory, so on and so forth. Sir, the Upanishad is not proposing you a theory. It is not a kind of a theology making you wanting to believe in something. Belief has its own role in human life. That I'm sitting over here, I have said this several times, even before, whenever this kind of a topic arose, that sitting under this roof, I believe that this roof is not going to collapse on my head, and therefore I am sitting, with certain what do they call, without any anxiety. This, don't do this, circus. It will fall, and the whole thing will. So I'm already sitting over here with this belief that this roof is not going to collapse on my head. And so it gives me the freedom to do the or to undertake any action uh, without being worried. So belief has its own role. This is a simple example, and with our belief systems, there are even complexes. And so belief has its own role. I'm not denying, I'm not saying one should not have any belief, and there is a role to be played. Even the fact that I accept this woman as my wife and not that woman as my wife, because I believe she is my wife. Because now I have signed the papers and the priests have come and they have done, the ritual of doing the fire ritual, and then said that this woman is your wife and this man is your husband. So now there is an acceptance. Now, for that belief to be taken place, we have several things. So there is our transactions with the world definitely have belief as a very important factor in it. But over here we are saying that it is not simply believing that that the teacher, some Swamiji or Shankaracharya, comes and says, and that's why you have to believe. No authority is claimed over here that I'm being somebody who's talking over here makes me an authority. Not an authority. What we are simply doing is we are investigating in the meaning of the sentence. What sentence? Atma is Brahman, Tattvamasi. This is the whole inquiry. What exactly is the whole thing? So now this is the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, that Atma is Brahman. And by knowing that Atma is Brahman, there is freedom from misery. And this freedom is absolute freedom, because there is no more sense of incompleteness associated with I. Misery is nothing more than just this sense of incompleteness, dissatisfaction, imperfection which one feels, which keeps on gnawing on oneself all the time. whether it is in regard to some emotional issue, whether it is with regard to your financial issues or social acceptance and popularity, so on and so forth. But everywhere I am, it keeps coming back to me, reminding that I am incomplete, I am incomplete, I am incomplete. There is something to be achieved, somewhere to go in order to be satisfied, in order to find myself fulfilled. So now this freedom from misery, the freedom from misery is with knowledge. And therefore, knowledge about what? Knowledge in knowing Atma is Brahman. And therefore, this is the subject matter. Then who is the qualified seeker? The qualified seeker is the one who has this pursuit of knowledge without any distraction, who can, whose whose whole life, whose every action, every breath is in the pursuit of knowledge. Who can such a person be? Now, such a person who is not distracted, who is not drawn. And what is it that one is generally distracted or drawn to? To the appeasement of senses, appeasement of ego, etc. These are the major issues. Now, this is not what is wanted. What is wanted is that I simply want to know how this Atma is Brahman. This is the commitment of a person, a sole pursuit of the person. Then that person is what? He is the most qualified person. But Swamiji, we do not have that kind of a commitment. We have several other things and several other issues to look after. And presently, we are already overloaded with our own desires, ambitions, and small little issues that are bothering us. How can we give ourselves to the path of knowledge, to the pursuit of knowledge? Therefore, though we understand that this is what is ultimate, this is what we should be doing, and yet we are not. Now over here, for such a person, then we have to tell that your progress on this path will be when through the path of action itself. That how you transact with the world, your transactions with the world should be able to create an atmosphere in you which is conducive to the pursuit of knowledge. Okay, so we are not talking about external changes. What changes in a person with his every interaction with the world? Is that interaction able to create an atmosphere of peace and calm? Do the events around us, whether those events are happy events or those events are sad events, irrespective of that, are these events able to create, or are these events able to ignite, awaken wisdom in a person or not? Or do they leave me more as a person in despair, or as a person with frustration, with anger, more lust and more greed, more dissatisfied and more disturbed? So what is it that happens to me as a result of transacting with the world? Because we need to create that kind of an atmosphere which is conducive. So even these things are also being told to us in Bhagavad Gita, and therefore in that subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, we have Bhagavad Gita as Brahma Vidya, as Brahma Vidya, so also Moksha, as much as the Bhagavad Gita is Moksha Shastram, but there is a section of Bhagavad Gita, parts of Bhagavad Gita, which is now Karma Shastram, Karma Yoga. What is it? It is Karma Yoga. It is Karma Shastra, Yoga Shastra. Hmm. So just not karma. Karma means that doing this, then you will get that. Doing this, you will get heaven. You're doing this, you will get children. Doing this, you will get more property. No, that is not the thing. That our karma now becomes yoga. Our every interaction, action, and interaction with the world, our responses to the world now are able to become yoga. They are able to create a meditative atmosphere inside. So even this is also imparted by Bhagavan Krishna, and so it is Yoga Shastra as well as Brahma Vidya as well as Moksha Shastra. All right. So qualified, this is the seeker, this is the Vishaya, then the Prayojana. Obviously, the Prayojana is Moksha. And then finally, the Sambandha. We have already seen all these things. Now, before we go into the Bhagavad Gita, now over here, there is the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is just the description of Arjuna's arrival on the battlefield. And then he observes the armies, Pandava army as well as the Kaurava army. And Arjuna's chariot is drawn by Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna has taken the role of being a charioteer. He had made an announcement right in the beginning that whosoever in anyone's sight that I am not going to lift a weapon to fight. I will not lift any weapon to fight, not even a small dagger. Forget bows and arrows and swords and spears. Nothing. I will not lift any weapon to fight. And in spite of knowing this as a Sri Krishna's pledge, because there is a very interesting story, I will just give you a little gist of it. And the event before this is that Arjuna and Duryodhana had approached Sri Krishna at the same time, requesting his alliance. So Sri Krishna, as the king of Dwarka, has Narayani Sena. His army was called as the Narayani Sena, and which is one Akshaurini, a massive army. So this fellow Duryodhana is very keen on getting Sri Krishna's alliance, because that means that his army will have a very powerful unit of that Narayani Sena. Narayani Sena as its unit. Now, Arjuna, also being Sri Krishna's devoted friend, he says that Sri Krishna, we want you to be on our side. At that time, Sri Krishna says, you have a choice. Choose me or choose my army. Choose me or choose my army. Because if you choose my army, you obviously will have a well-trained army, powerful men to fight on your side. But if you choose me, I'm not going to lift even any weapon to fight. So here the choice is very clear. And he gives the first choice to Arjuna. He gives the first choice to Arjuna, saying that so Duryodhana is already boiling and furious. He says, this is not a fair thing. You could have divided the army, given half to them, given half to me, whatever. There are several ways in which you could have dealt, Sri Krishna. This fellow Duryodhana is already very angry. That time, Arjuna makes his choice, and Arjuna says, Krishna, I choose you. Even if I had to make a choice between you and all the three worlds, I choose you. Because I know wherever you are, success will follow your footsteps. Opulence will follow your footsteps. Duryodhana thinks that Arjuna is a fool because instead of choosing the army, he just chose one man. And that also a useless fellow who is not going to even do anything in that battle. And Duryodhana is wrong. So, because it was Sri Krishna's commitment that he will not lift weapon, Arjuna's only request is that Krishna, you need not take to any weapon. All that I need is you by my side. Stay with me. And the only way was he knew that Sri Krishna's ability as a charioteer to deal with the horses, animals, men, and everyone was was already divine. So with his acumen of driving the chariot, you can just, all that you have to do is just hold the reins of the horses and drive my chariot through the battlefield. Knowing this, Shri Krishna is the charioteer of Arjuna's chariot. Sarathi.
Ladies and gentlemen, as mandate by Tractor Civil Elevation of India, passengers are now permitted to carry MacBook or laptops on the aircraft, which were sold between September 2015.
Somebody has kept the mic on or something. Well, this is how Arjuna's chariot arrives on the battlefield with Shri Krishna driving it. And Arjuna then falls into despair because he sees that the people that he has to fight with, now the action, the righteousness also over here is not simply, speaking sweet words and being nice, but over here now the righteousness has taken a very fierce form where it is fighting the battle. Fighting the battle is common for Arjuna as well as Duryodhana. But what makes Arjuna's fighting righteous and Duryodhana's fighting unrighteous is purely their knowledge, their intentions, etc. All right. So now Arjuna comes, and so the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is just description of the army with various great warriors, in filing in both the armies. And Arjuna comes, and he sees that this is not this the battle that I have to fight. Never have I imagined that I have to fight with the people whom I have loved and respected, my teacher, my grandfather, so on and so forth. I would have rather fought a battle in order to protect them. But now the situation is that I have to fight the battle with these very people. And Arjuna goes into what do they call? No, a man of great determination, a man of great, acumen, prowess, also falls into despair. So Arjuna, who is a person of great accomplishments in his life, achievements in his life, extremely successful. Wherever he has gone, whatever he has done, he has not stood second to anyone anywhere. Arjuna is a man of greatest accomplishments. There is no parallel to Arjuna's achievements, even in the history till date. Even such a person also sinks into misery, in sadness. And that sadness is not ordinary sadness, where a person wants to even give up everything that he finds is right. He does not even want to battle for something, for those principles which he has found to be right and are in accordance with the scriptures. Yet Arjuna, a man like Arjuna, also goes into this shoka and moha. Shoka is sadness, sorrow, misery, and moha is delusion, where a person becomes confused with what is right, what is not right, what is truth, what is not true. Moha, delusion. There, this happens even to somebody like Arjuna. So this is the first chapter and first few shlokas of the second chapter, till the point where Sri Krishna begins his discourse. And Sri Krishna also begins only when Arjuna requests him to impart the knowledge. Arjuna's prayer over here is not a prayer where he says that Sri Krishna changed the situations for me, show me your magical, miraculous powers, and change the situation for me. Change, make the Kaurava army go back, make their minds, and just create something strange and show your magic and miracles. No, this is not what Arjuna says. Arjuna says that Sri Krishna, give me the knowledge. Because whatever it is purely a matter of confusion. It is arising out of ignorance, and therefore give me knowledge. Shishasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapanam. We will go to that section. But now, over here, we have understood that Bhagavad Gita is Moksha Shastra. And being Moksha Shastra, now it reveals that Atma is Brahman. Now, once when you have heard, because knowledge takes place once, okay? Memories can keep coming again and again. So now let us say, okay, here is something. I have a pen with me. So now your eyes have met this object which is there in my hand. Okay, this is a simple pen, a ball pen. Now you have seen it. Now seeing it, till the time you had not seen, you did not know what is there in my hand. But once when your eyes have met the object, and the conditions are conducive, like the ample light, etc. Now you know that it is a pen. Knowledge has taken place, so ignorance about that object has gone. You cannot, no, once again, you cannot say, now I know this, now I know this. No. It is already known. Ignorance has already gone away. To say that I know it now again and again, which means that you will have to presume that it was unknown before. Because for knowledge to take place, which means that it is something through which the ignorance goes away. Now, did you not know that object before? To say that it was known again, second time when you see, it is pratyabhijna, it is recognition. It can be called as recognition, but knowledge is once. It takes place once. Now, friends, over here, when one hears it for the first time, Tatvamasi. Tatvamasi means that thou art, that this Atma is Brahman. Now it has already created some knowledge, but what it is yet not clear, and therefore that knowledge, which is still then infested with confusion, with doubts, with contradictions, now doesn't seem to be like knowledge, like direct experience. Okay, it doesn't seem to be like direct experience, and therefore we have we have to do things which will eradicate the doubts and contradictions, samshaya viparyaya, from there. So this is the whole process of knowledge, and the only thing that we need to know with clarity. Don't claim that I know just based on your belief. Knowledge, when takes place, one doesn't even have to claim. One doesn't have to claim. And so I'm not going to promise that, after this, listening to Bhagavad Gita, you are going to have some halo behind your head or something like that. And then when you walk on the streets, people are going to fall at your feet saying that here arrives, comes a saint and all that. Please, let's not have, let us get out of those fairy tale ideas and come to what is real. So, this is the only sentence that we are going to examine. Now, Madhusudana Saraswati, in his introduction to Bhagavad Gita, there was a great saint, a sage, a Mahatma from the 16th, 17th century, Madhusudana Saraswati. I'm bringing few verses from his introduction to Bhagavad Gita to you, so that our journey into Gita becomes easy. This is what I had said last time, and we already had begun. So here he goes. Sahetukasya samsarasya atyanto paramatmakam param nishreyasam Gita shastrasya uktam prayojanam. Now this is Bhagavad Gita. Without, romanticizing this, criticizing the spirituality. Oh, this is a song sung by Sri Krishna on the battlefield, and so Gita, that's all okay. But we have this name, and this is also fine. It is a song, and it is sung by Sri Krishna, Bhagavata Gita, and it is so it is sung by Sri Krishna, and that's why it is called as Bhagavad Gita. But over here, Gita Shastra say it is a Shastram, Shamsanat Shastram, because it imparts knowledge. It is Shastram, Uktam Prayojanam. What is the purpose of this Gita Shastra? The very purpose of this Shastra, why did Sri Krishna even sing this song, is because with a purpose. Sri Krishna is not saying, giving this knowledge, imparting this knowledge, which now is called as the music from Sri Krishna, the song of Sri Krishna, with an intention that, we have to kill time on the battlefield or anything. The battle, you will see, is already announced. The drums are being beaten, the conches are blown, and the the soldiers in both the armies also are renting the skies with their war cries. And in that chaotic, what do they call, cacophony, a chaotic situation, Shri Krishna, now this is the background music for Shri Krishna's song. So what is the purpose over here? The purpose over here is Nishreyasam. Is Nishreyasa means moksha. And that moksha means where it is the complete, total, absolute annihilation, eradication of misery. It is not a relative, temporary relief. It is not a small little respite. It is a total eradication, absolute. Atyantika nivrittihi. So this total, absolute annihilation, we are going to say, is what? Atyantika nivrittihi, dukkhasya atyantika nivrittihi. And along with that, it is param sukhasya vaptihi, attainment of happiness which is limitless. Which is limitless. So therefore, this is the meaning of Nishreyasa. This Nishreyasa being the very prayojana, being the very purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Param Nishreyasam Gita Shastasya Uktam Prayojanam. This is said. This is a certain, said over here means a certain prayojanam, purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not told so that there can be more number of followers to Sri Krishna, so that you can bring more and more people under the umbrella and create a new religion or start a cult or a sect or something fanfare business. No, the very purpose is Nishreyasam. So these are not the set of laws that Sri Krishna is creating so that we can create a community, and that community now will make, let us expand this community all over and make everybody followers or anything. No, sir, no such thing. But it is only when you verify your own purpose, and then everyone is bound to find that the true purpose of life and living, everyone's, is where one wants to be free from dukkha, where one wants to attain joy. And having asked how much joy, you are going to say limitless. That's why, don't you say that how much love do you want? You don't say that, very little love is okay. You're going to say love means how much? Infinite. You should that, if this is the girl, she will say that you should not stop loving me forever, forever, which means forever means what? One is saying that it should not be limited by time. Okay, I will love you forever, but what if I go to America? I should stop loving you. I'm saying that I love you when I'm in. No, wherever you are, everywhere you should only love me forever, which means whatever is your idea of happiness, in that happiness you are not able to tolerate limitation drawn, conditioning drawn by any time, space, or any other thing. You see? So in and out, through and through, Nishreyasa is truly our prayojanam, and that, when verified, when distilled in your mind, now this is Nishreyasa, and this is what I want. That Nishreyasa, that very Nishreyasa vastu is the prayojanam of Gita Shastram. Uktam prayojanam means it is said, it is not said, it is a certain. That a certain Nishreyasam is the prayojanam of Bhagavad Gita, Gita Shastram. Sahetu. And how is that? Sahetukas samsarasya atyanto paramatmakam. That nishreyasa now, what is its form? That samsara means miserable existence, okay? Being born again and again, and and every birth simply means continuation of sorrow, dukkham. Samsarasya uparama means where the samsara, where this misery is withdrawn, evaporated. I'm just using some word, evaporated, destroyed, uparamaha. And then atyantika uparamaha. And how is that destruction? It is not temporary, it is not relative, it is not bringing down its level of intensity. It is atyantika nivritti, absolute, complete, and total. But how, sir, that will be total? Because even when we go to sleep, we don't feel the pain, psychological or physical. So he says, and yet after having woken up from the sleep, in the sleep there is no pain, no such misery. I may be having, terrible physical pain. I may be having some cancer or something which is very painful condition. But when I'm fast asleep, gone. But having woken up, it comes back again. Having fed morphine or something, the pain goes down. So intensity goes down or it goes away during the sleep. We are not talking about a relief which is temporary or relative. We are saying atyantika nivritti, atyantika uparamaha, total, complete. And sahetukasya samsarasya, this misery is samsara. How does it go away? Along with the very cause that has created it. From where does it arise? From ignorance. So hetu means the cause. Sahetu kasya samsa. So that misery, along with its cause, when it is destroyed, this destruction of misery, then is eradication of misery is absolute. Because if the cause is going to stay, and the symptoms may may subside, but because the seed is there, it will germinate again, and therefore sahetukasya samsarasya uparamaha param nishreyasam gita shastrasya uktam prayojanam. How is it? Satchidananda rupam yat purnam vishnof param padam yat praptaye samarabdha vedah kanda trayatmaka. Now that which is the attainment, which is moksha, it is said as to be the Vishnoho Paramam Padam. What is it called? Vishnoho Paramam Padam. It is the, now, let us go through its some, meaning and then refine it, because this is what is expected, that we come to a meaning which is truly meant by the teacher, by the speaker, and he is employing the words Vishnoho Paramam Padam, that it is the Padam. It is one meaning of the word Padam is abode. What is the meaning of that word? Padam is abode, dham. Amar Kosh is quoted over here. It says, Vyavasitatrana Lakshmangri Vastushu. This word is employed in all these meanings. Padam, abode. sthana. Whose sthana? Vishnu paramam padam, of Vishnu. So this may even create an idea that we are talking about reaching a celestial heaven, a heaven, which then is the abode of Vishnu. No, the word padam over here is meant to say the very nature, swarupa of Vishnu. What is it? Very nature of Vishnu, of Paramatma. And how is it? Sachidananda Rupam. It is pure existence, consciousness, and infinite joy. It is not something that is existing, but it is existence itself. Existence, consciousness, and this pure Sachidananda Rupam, Yat Purnam, that which is complete. That which is complete. Everything over here is existing. Something is, and that which is existing can have its opposite as not existing. Therefore, those who are hell-bent on saying that God exists, just as this pen exists. Now, when I'm saying this pen exists, it is existing in one place, at the same time it is not existing in the other place. So its opposite is already available in the same frame of time. And when this is destroyed, or even before it was created, it is non-existing. So its opposite, which is not the pen not being there, is there in time and space already. As an object also, this is pen and this is an handkerchief. Handkerchief is not a pen. So as an object, it is already, this is not pen. So those who are now wanting to prove that God exists are talking in these terms. And therefore, for them, God will also, by their own virtue, will also be something that is not existing at the same time. When they say is existing, God is existing, God is there, is now already they have said, without saying is not there. So now they don't need an atheist to disprove them. They themselves are a proof of their atheism. No, sir, God is not that we are saying is existing, is existence. Existence does not have anything to oppose it. Oh, well, there is a word, non-existence. Now you go show what do you mean by non-existence? Now, even if somebody has to say this is non-existence, the non-existence of something also has to exist, has to be there. Then how are you going to say it is not? So existence cannot be denied, cannot be refuted, cannot be disproved, and that which cannot be disproved, refuted, destroyed ever is Vishnu, is Paramatma. That is Paramam Padam. This is the ultimate, the true nature of God. And yet praptaye, in order to attain that, the Vedas now have come forth. The Vedas have come forth, and how are these Vedas? Kandatrayatmaka. They are having three sections in them. The Vedas, which are consisting of these three parts, they have come forth in order to show the attainment of to how to attain Paramatma. And attainment of Paramatma, therefore, is moksha, and that moksha is removal of samsara along with its root, with its bija, with its hetu, with its cause. This is where we have begun into introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Let us meet next to go to travel a little further. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashikatau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmiti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Thank you all. Thank you very much.